Okay, he has sent the PDF, not the PPT. So, how do I present? Just give me a minute.
Now, second time it is PPT.
I think Sir Ilangman sir has also joined.
Okay.
Sir, yes, it's a PDF actually, not the PPT. It's a PDF, not a PPT. PDF. Actually, yeah. He's
Yeah,
already
second.
there. Okay, sure. Yeah. So fine, sir. Actually, it's a PDF, not a PPT. So I will have to scroll a bit. So that is not
Yeah,
an
okay.
issue.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. No, I had sent second time the PPT in your email.
Okay.
No, to Ilangavan's email.
Yeah, sir, I didn't. One minute, sir.
You just check it.
Yeah, yes, no problem.
Sure, sir.
It is in.
I will just present it.
Sir, I didn't. Sir, it is with. Sir, which email ID is changed, sir? Mine.
No, Ilangavan Rajgopalan? No.
No, not Ilango. Ilango Arad.
Oh.
Oh, that's the reason why. I didn't get that. It is there with you, sir, in the system now.
Because he has not sent it to my WhatsApp, the PPT version.
No issue, sir. PDF also, if there is no change, we can present PDF also.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead, I think. No problem. Because you have to call, no, that's all.
Yeah. Sure. So we will just start in within a minute.
5 minutes, only people will join.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sabir, it's okay?
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Yeah, correct.
So should I start, sir, with the introduction?
Yeah, okay. Begin.
George will be joining maybe in 15-20 minutes or so. So I will just have to keep an eye on the chat. Whenever he joins, I will make him as a panelist.
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. So we will start with the session.
Yeah, please. Please start introduction.
Yes, sir. So, hi all. Welcome to Spaceport India Apollo 11th anniversary. So we will start with the session. So let me introduce our guest of honor for today, uh, the Padma Shri R.M. Vasagam sir. So he is with us right now. Padma Shri Vasagam sir is presently working as a chancellor at the Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute, Chennai, and Karpagam University, Coimbatore. Padma Shri Vasagam sir is a recipient of many awards, including Padma Shri and Tarabai Award. He has worked in for the Indian space program since its inception in early 60s. Since inception, served as a project director for Apple India's first experimental geostationary communication satellite project during 1977-83 time frame. He has served as a visiting scientist at Institute of Space and Aeronautical Sciences, University of Tokyo, 1967, Center for Space Research, Lincoln Lab, MIT, Boston, 1970, NASA Goddard Space Flight Center, Maryland, USA, 1971. So, welcome, sir, officially. Welcome again.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
So, George Salazar, he will be joining, then I will introduce him.
Go.
So, let me introduce our second guest of honor, Professor Langovan Rajgopalan, sir. He is currently working as a professor at KCG College of Technology, Chennai. He is ex-colleague of late APJ Kalam sir and Dr. Sivan, ISRO. He is a team member of GSLV Mark 1 core team and a mentor for startups in aero sector. He is also a member of syllabus committee for various institutions. Overall, he has 42 years of work experience, which includes 14 years of academic experience, established aeronautical engineer course in 3 countries. He has delivered around 185 lectures in 28 topics at 45 institutions in last 10 years. He has also received a Lifetime Achievement Award from IST. So, welcome, Ilangovan, sir.
Thank you.
So, we will start with the PPT, which Vasagam sir is going to present.
Yeah. 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 Okay. You can start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just a minute.
Yes.
Let me share the PDF. Is my screen visible? Sir, is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's visible.
Yeah. Okay. We'll begin now.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
these are visible.
Yeah. Okay. So, good evening to all. And I think this is an exciting period for the space frontier. Of course, we are on the celebrate mood for the 51st anniversary for the Apollo moon mission. And I think this was one of the historic moments in the space program of the whole world. And then it is just moving up forward further and further. So move further. Yeah, you can just move further.
Yes.
Next one. Yeah, next. Yeah, here the historic movement came when President John F. Kennedy, he made in Congress and the joint session we held in the Senate and Congress, American Senate, he chose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard, because the goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills, because that challenge is one that we are willing to take, and one we are unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win, and the others too. This is a historic thing, statement made. It's a statesmanship kind of thing, because the Soviet Union had put the Yuri Gagarin in low Earth orbit, but these people made a further step for going to moon. And this was a mammoth thing for the whole country, the United States, in those kind of things, the preparedness and also the challenge, how they handled. Yeah, next. Yeah, move to the next. Here you will see the Apollo capsule, that is what is a service module, then the command module and the lunar excursion module, all in orbital configuration. After it leaves from the Earth, and then the lunar transfer by giving of the. So this is one of the artistic view of the capsule. This itself was more than 100 and odd tons. So the Saturn vehicle capability in those days, it exceeded that kind of thing. Okay, next. Yeah, move to the next. Yeah, this is the beginning. So as I said, President Kennedy's thing, and then they said before the end of the decade, they wanted to accomplish this. And there were so many parallel activities. You say that there were Mercury, Atlas, it was on the Atlas Mercury, then Titan Gemini, then we also had the Saturn 2B, the actual orbital tests of the modules, and variety of things are going in parallel. And in parallel, the Saturn launch vehicle development was taking place, and the other side, most of the things are done in West Coast, and also the in Houston area and many other places. And Manned Spaceflight Center also came into existence at that time. So they were drawn, the astronauts were drawn from the US Air Force and the teams which were organized. So the historical things are sketched in the, you will see few of the NASA history books are available, how they were selected, how they were trained, and then how they were prepared for the various missions. So this is very, very important. But the most interesting thing was the more than 250,000 people worked in the entire US for this mission. And also the budget, they started with about $8 billion. It ended up with $26 billion at that time itself. So this is, cost is always a factor of pi. That is what they say, in US model. And the time is doubled, but here the time was maintained. Before end of the decade, they were able to accomplish that mission of, sending the American on the moon. So this is something which, so the next one, yeah. Here you will see the Apollo, they were various missions. There were up to 18 missions are there, but the actual thing, 6 of them were carrying astronauts to the moon, and the others, one of them in the Apollo 13, we had the mishap, the fuel cell in the, in the command module that had problem. There was a fire, and then they were in jeopardy. So they didn't move to moon. They just had a, almost like a boomerang. They returned the vehicle to come back and then land on Earth. Somehow, by heroic efforts, they made all the changes in real time for the safe landing of these astronauts back on the sea. So that is another parallel thing. I think it has been captured in the movie also. So the other things, what I would say, the most of the missions have been accomplished. Individual missions had their own goals, followed by the further improvements on the instrumentation and many other things. Yeah, okay, next. Yeah, move to the next. Here you will see the Apollo 11 crew, Armstrong in the middle. Yes, he is the commander, and then the other two people, Collins and the other person. So the one astronaut could not actually land on the moon. He was in the command module waiting for them to come back. And the other two went down in the lunar module, lunar excursion module. And the Armstrong and the other person, they were on the LEM module. So that is where I think you will see the much of in those days there was nothing like real-time television or even the cameras were Hasselblad cameras. A lot of pictures have come, but all other things later on only they were able to. And the television was also in infancy. So much of the things were black and white only in those days. Yeah, next. Yeah, next one. And the means, what I was telling earlier, that Saturn launch vehicle was built by Werner von Braun's team. He was the person from, in the Hitler's time, he led the V2 rocket development team. Peenemünde, that place in the northern Germany, they had almost 22,000 V2 missiles are built by prisoners of wars. That is also another thing which you will have to understand. And the same people, they were after the war, the Germany was defeated, and these people, some of the scientists were taken to US, and von Braun was one of them. So he led this design team for 100 plus ton capability in the low Earth orbit equivalent. And that is the one which it is a 3-stage rocket, which was brand new rocket was built for the Apollo mission. And the other the spacecraft command module, service module, and lunar excursion module, they were also under newly developed, and it was in the west coast of US. So there were in the books of the NASA history books, if you go through, you will see the the interest coming from senators and congressmen to get the work to their area of their state. So it also happened. So the Martin Marietta was in Colorado. They lost the bid, but the North American Aviation, I think they got the contract for this. So the whole thing was under mostly in California, the major activities took place. And the lunar orbit rendezvous and docking was the means by which they reduced the requirement of putting modules individually by 2 launches should have otherwise taken, but now they changed it to just by part of the module is going for landing on moon, and then again they will come back from the moon soil to the orbiting, the command module waiting there. So that will do the return fire for coming towards Earth. So that option, it has been one of the most difficult system engineering challenges they have faced, and they chose this method. And but one of the tragedies which happened was in 1967, they were to do dress rehearsal for the entire vehicle at the launch pad with full vehicle, and then the other, of course, fuel was not there. But the command module where they were actually seated, the wrong usage of material, some short circuit and electrical fire. So 3 astronauts perished. That is the sacrifice I think American astronauts made for making Apollo successful later on. And the Apollo 17 was the last manned flight. Apollo 11 we are celebrating today, the first man on the moon, and 13 had to abandon. So this is the, next one. Move further. Here you will see Werner von Braun, along with the vehicle at the launch tower. And you can say in those days there was, other than the facet calculator, electromechanical calculator, there was nothing available to do all the design. So so much of things which they did for vehicle design, it's all done by cranking the machine. So not by computers or kind of software. So this is one of the critical things which you have to see. The tools and techniques may change, but fundamentals never. So I think that is what I think you have to understand and appreciate in engineering. So, and the booster on the right side is the 5-engine Saturn 1 booster, first stage of the booster. The Saturn 5, they are next one. Yeah, next. Here you will see the full exploded view of the vehicle, the 5-engine booster, 5-engine second stage with liquid oxygen hydrogen, and then 1-engine, the third stage, followed by the service module and the Apollo capsule, and also the lunar excursion module. And then the escape tower, which is at the top. So any catastrophic accident at launch tower, the escape tower, there will be a fast reaction solid rocket, which will just pull the whole capsule away from the normal thing. So the vehicle is misbehaving. They will be safely landing at the right places. At 2 or 3 events, I think this tower will be used. So in our own Indian development now for Gaganyaan, this test has been done about 2 years back successfully for our own, the Indian Gaganauts to be rescued in case of such anomaly. Yeah. Next. Yeah, next one. You will see all the, the pictures, variety of for each vehicle, what is the number of vehicles are built, and finally whatever was left over, I think it has been used for launching the what we call as the Skylab, the last one that carried the Skylab for the last thing. So all other things are for moon mission, but this last one was used for Skylab. Next one. Yeah, here how they are integrating the full vehicle, the booster followed by second stage and then third stage. That is the bulk of the things, almost 3,000 tons you can say, and with fuel, and then the service module, and then the escape tower. But within the heat shield, all these things are kept also. So what you will see at the right hand bottom corner, that is at the time of launch, the service module and the lunar excursion module and the command module, they are actually, one after other it is attached. But later on, once they are in lunar transfer, at that time they actually do another maneuver to separate and then again dock again. So that also was one of the uniqueness, because you may be any anomaly, any error that will create a bigger problem. So, and it is full of propulsion elements, they are storable and also cryogenic fuels and the batteries. And the important thing what you will have to see in the Saturn vehicle, the IBM built the guidance navigation control computer, which was actually water cooled, and the core memory, magnetic core memory, was extensively used in that computer also. And in spite of all that, it will not even match one of the current generation mobile in computing power. So all those algorithm optimization was so tough they have done. Then we also have the other thing for you will also see in the command module and service module also there were computers which were not built by IBM. It was by us, Control Data Corporation, and there again the same technology. So the code optimization, and it was all done by MIT Boston. Today it is called originally it was called Instrumentation Laboratory, who built the gyros and all the other things also. And the Aeronautics and Astronautics Department of the MIT Boston led that entire effort of writing the algorithms, putting the codes into the computer, and extensive simulation was done by them. So all this, how an education institute can actually contribute to a national mission, that too in a highly time critical cost, and escalation also has to be controlled, and new technology with virtually with the L board they are doing all the things. So they succeeded because of the national spirit and the ability of them to, conquer the new technology. Yeah, next one. Yeah, here you will see again the interior view of the command and service modules, and then the escape system. So these are all parallel developments. As I said, 250,000 people plus have worked on this. Means so many contractors, so many people. So the system engineering, there was separate team at the NASA headquarters, and there were also advisors for because of the fire disaster at the launch pad. They brought the person who actually lost the bid in Martin Marietta, who led the team. That person was moved to North American Aviation as the project chief, and then the Boeing, who had a good record for the civil aircraft safety, they were brought in as safety advisors. And this is something which is unique in US. They didn't change the contractor, but they changed the team. And then this zero defect, that word which is very often used in all the space and other places, that originated in that place. So the new person, when he took charge, what he said, including a janitor to lift operator to typist to everybody, zero defect. You can't make a single mistake. That is how it was started, and then the final success was guaranteed by systematic methods, system engineering. The Thomson Ramo Ulrich, TRW Corporation, which is again a professor from Caltech, he led that company. So the TRW was again doing systems engineering for this mission, and they also did the engine development and also hardware development for the lunar module. All the engines which are storable engines came from them. That team, how they organized all that, finding the right person and also right kind of technology for manufacturing and integrating with, unlike the current technology for the mechanical engineering software, where you can put lot of things in drawings and then all will be in computers. But in those, everything was in blueprint stage only. So that is the kind of thing, they have overcome so much of difficulties of coordination and communication was a formidable problem. So that is what I think you ought to see. Yeah, next one. Yeah, this is command and service module. So this is the one which finally takes them to the lunar orbit, because you have to go, the Saturn injects only in the lunar transfer injection. Afterwards, when you are going around moon, you have to apply the brake and go into orbit around moon. So initially a small elliptical orbit followed by circular orbit, and from there they are waiting for the right landing point to come under them, and then they separate the other modules. So in this command and service module, the other person will be seated. One astronaut will be waiting for them. So that is next. Yeah, move further. Yeah, you will see all the, how the things are put together. So what you would say, command and service module and lunar module, on the right side you see the one which goes to the moon, the lunar soil is right side. And this one is the command and service module. So they normally spend most of the time in the service module, where they will get all the supply and many other things, even the navigation system, everything is located there. But in the lunar module, which is landing, that is again for two people it was configured. So but in this CSM, command and service module, there is a telescope for star sighting, which will reset the gyros and inertial navigation system, which is astronavigation, it was called in those days. So this one, then the flipping, during launch, left side you will see what I told you, the launch time they have got the things one after other, but later they flip it and then dock it again. So once it is in transfer injection to lunar orbit, At that time, the configuration changed like this. So these are all critical operations, and there is no chance to commit an error. That is what I think. So much of things have happened in the entire US industry and mindset to make it happen successfully every time. So and this is the actual module which is landed on the moon on the bottom picture. So yeah, next. Lunar module. This what are all the interior contents? You have the variety of things. The power supply, fuel cells, and then the plume deflect, because the lunar soil, our own Chandrayaan 2, when it was to land, we had the problem of the plume. This lunar dust will come up, and then you lose visibility. Many things. So the 2 astronauts who are inside, they have to make sure that they are able to land properly at the moon surface. So they come down and then hover for some time, and then actually they can steer left, right, forward, backward to get the right boulder the landing site. So that is another thing which was this is what now we are trying to do in automated way by Chandrayaan program. But in those days, the man in the loop, and they had the instruments, altimeter, whatever is all the things in those days, whatever was available, it was all fitted here, and command communication antennas to orbiting module and also to the ground. So continuous link to the control center on Earth and also the orbital person. So the deep space network was created for this program first time. That is Australia, and then in Madrid, and then in US. So 3 places, giant antennas, and they were actually the deep space network. That is the initial beginning of the deep space network. Now, of course, they have expanded further. They are going to Mars, even beyond Mars, the Jupiter and Saturn, many missions. So they are all able to do all that based on that beginning which has come from that. Yeah, next. Yeah, next one. Yeah, this is the trajectory which you will see. Normally, it was a good artistic diagram, because there is something in the NASA culture. There is something called the industrial arts. A person who does all these engineering things properly and depicting them correctly. So this is the pictures which came from that kind of thing, mission sequence. So the bottom is the one which is showing the return, but the top one is the one which is top circle, no? Or that is in the right hand, the corner. From there, you leave the Earth and then just depart to moon, and then lunar orbit insertion, and then go on the moon, and then return fire for the finally coming down. So this is the Earth. This right side picture will show. But all these are again the tracking data. It was in those days range and range rate. We call it as S-band range and range rate tracking system. So you get only the distance and the rate, Doppler. From that, you have to compute the orbit very accurately for all the further operations. This is the mission sequence. So it will be displayed on the control center in the NASA centers everywhere. So world over, it was at that time seen also. Yeah, next. Yeah, next one. Yeah, move to the next. Here the technologies, the re-entry capsule, this is something unique. It is not like the Soviet. Soviet is almost like a football with one side slightly, this CG offset they create by adding the ablative material at one end. So it is not a perfect spherical shell. So that is one design which Korolev, the father figure of the Soviet manned flight also, his team only designed. But in the US, the Maxim Faget, he was a NASA Ames Center aerodynamics person. He only designed this, you will see a conical thing, and at the bottom part of the spherical. So the bottom part, that is part of the spherical shell, only is bearing much of the re-entry heat. So the Now in the space shuttle and all, they added the ceramic tiles, but in the earlier Apollo mission, it was only ablative material, which is charring ablative. So that is the one which is sacrificial layer, which absorbs the re-entry heating, and then it just takes away the entire thing away. So heat will not be conducted inside the cabin. That is the model. And he was awarded the highest NASA civilian award for this, and the US president also. And the other part, the landing in sea was done, unlike the Soviet, it was in the land. But here it is the sea-based landing and recovery by ships coming with helicopters. And we had big parachutes bringing them down. And aerospace medicine specialists were monitoring continuously much of the telemedicine ideas which we are now talking, and the miniaturized instruments, everything was coming out of the Apollo program. That is why they say much of the technology, spin-off technology from Apollo, that happened at that time. And the other part, the global tracking telemetry network, I think it is one of the unique thing in those days, because only undersea cable was prime thing, and even satellite communication was not that extensive at that time. Intelsat links only are just about to come. And the other moon buggy, that is one of the things which was first time, because few kilometers on the moon surface they were to traverse. So that was built by Boeing and Chrysler, the lunar conditions. Because you know how to design an automobile for Earth, but it is on the lunar soil. So you will see the wheels were actually like a snow tire kind of thing. So they have done all that. Yeah, next one. Yeah, next. Moon buggy. Yeah, this is the one I was explaining. So you will see it is from the landing module, the lunar excursion module, they just bring it out and then they are driving around. So, and driving around means not for fun. They have to actually collect samples with marking. So, including the rocks, soil, variety of things, and then bring it and then put it in one place. And then not all of them can be brought back. So next mission, like that, they used to do all that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, next. It's 1 week stay on moon, and then, the other return part starts. So afterwards, they just go up and then join the orbiting command and service module with another astronaut waiting there. Then they come back by retrofire, and then they just, when it is touching the Earth's atmosphere, at almost, it is nearly 36,000 feet per second, or you can say 11.3 kilometer per second velocity. So the re-entry heat will be so high, so shallow entry, and then slowly they expose the hardened surface where the absorption material is there, and then finally they ultimately come out and then open the parachute for the, and they jettison the command and service module, because that is not parachuted down, that goes into the sea. It is only the capsule finally which carries the 3 astronauts, that alone is brought down. So you will see the kind of things, the re-entry, that the flame picture, it is all artistic pictures. But the thing is, at this last phase only, our space shuttle also had a problem. It was not, 11.3 kilometer per second. It is only Earth orbit velocity, 7.8. But in spite of that, one ceramic tile, the gap, finally, fire flame entered the inside the cabin, and the entire thing was destroyed. So Kalpana Chawla was lost in that mission. So that I think we are remembering how aerothermodynamics, heating and controlling is important. Next. Yeah, re-entry, you will see what I was explaining. That is a conical shell, and bottom is part of this spherical thing, and how it is, and there is a controlled entry. Attitude control is maintained to get that right angle of attack so that you get the heat absorbed at the same time you are safely reducing all the things without affecting the structural integrity of the capsule. And then the parachute down, once the velocity is coming down, their parachutes are opening and then they splash down on the sea. And the next one. Yeah, next picture. Yeah, next. Move to the next. Yeah, this is the recovery capsule. You know, all the charred things, recovery teams are waiting. And then, the Navy people are waiting in the ship and Navy helicopters, all those things. And then they attach the markers, many other things. So and this is the charred vehicle, the Apollo capsule, which is now taken to the ship, and then finally the astronauts are coming out of that thing because the all conditions have to be checked, and then only they will take it. So where it will land exactly, there are only the nominal place, non-nominal conditions, where all it will go. So that also was one of, and in case, extreme case, if it is not possible to, the sea conditions also have to be counted. So this is the total thing is 4 days to moon, 7 days on moon, again 4 days to return. So you will see about 15-day cycle. So this is what I think the mission duration. So all their supplies, everything, including the water, air, everything, for astronauts, it's all within the module. So that is the kind of thing which you'll have to see. Next. Yeah, now I will touch upon the returns. The lunar geological mapping, the US Defense Mapping Agency has prepared the full atlas of the moon. Then lunar rock samples, number of them were brought. Of course, much of the Apollo mission took place in the equatorial region of the moon. So the kind of things which they have got are all, there are actually the valleys, also the high plateaus, and also the elevated places. So they got samples from so many places, and it is distributed world over for the studies. And even our physical research lab at Ahmedabad got some sample. Then passive laser retroreflector, it was one of the Smithsonian observatory requirement. So they had made it is passive. So you just place it there, then laser ranging from Earth. So it gives to centimeter accuracy the distance between Earth and Moon. Continuously they were measuring. So that helps them to do the actual orbital mechanics point of view. That was very, very important, because the disturbance to sun, other things which are coming, everything was to be studied by the astrodynamics people. They were successful in this experiment, and it lasted a long time. So like that, because it's only passive. And the other is the RTG, radioisotope thermoelectric generator powered seismic monitoring. The moon is not a quiet place. I think tremors occur. So what is the reason, we don't know. But I think it is not a highly stable place. So that monitoring, that was one of the major objective. So the RTG based thing was placed on the moon. And the stellar inertial first time used in the, this kind of mission, solar system exploration. And the computers, the core memory, it is interesting to note that the MIT Boston Electronics Laboratory, it was originally Second World War time. It was Radiation Laboratory, it was called. And then they developed the anti-aircraft gun system. They also developed the radar. Many things, electronics lab, but the students who were there, they actually went out and started many companies. So it was renamed as electronics lab, and the electronics lab of MIT, the core memory was one of the products by a student, magnetic core memory. So that was finally the system in MIT was that the student who is doing that work, they take the patent. So the 40% of the money goes to the team which actually worked on that. That is including the student and the lab, and the MIT gets 60%. So the annual return for the MIT as an institution was $400 million in 1960s. Will you believe? $400 million as royalty returned to MIT itself. So this is the kind of thing which I think we are looking for the educational system to successfully demonstrate and come out with something original and innovative products of that kind. That is what I think we have to see. It is, why MIT is preferred like that. I think this is what you'll have to see. Yeah, next. Yeah, next one. Yeah, next. Yeah, here you will see the all geological mapping. You can say much of it is like our alumina, what we have got in the, aluminum oxide and some of the silicon and silicates and many other things. But now, of course, Chandrayaan 1, we also got on the surface, the hydroxyl molecule, that is the OH molecule was also present. Then we think that there is a helium-3, but the helium-3 was not detected by Apollo, by astronauts, but it is observation only. So this is what I think you'll have to see. And they didn't get much trace of the water presence in the equatorial region at that time. But it was followed by another Clementine mission later, which is a very small satellite, less than 135 kilogram, but that went to the moon and then studied, and then it also had a synthetic aperture radar which mapped the craters where the water was detected, not on the surface but on the crater. It is hidden from sun. So like that, there is now very major thing in this Chandrayaan 1 was the moon mineralogy mapper. So this will confirm much of what we have been studying from Apollo. Of course, Apollo was only a small part of the moon was explored, but now we have got the orbiting system, which will cover all the things, all elements, and also the capability to look at the water as a resource on the moon in much more depth, and the the helium-3, because that is another thing which they are looking for. So yeah, next one. Yeah. Next, this is the rock samples. I think some of them came to PRL Physical Research Lab also for the, basically they will do the carbon dating, the age, the study, and whether it originated from on the moon or it came through a meteorite. Variety of studies have been performed, but the composition of this, whether the moon doesn't have much bigger magnetic field. So that is another thing, curiosity they are studying. So this will have to be looked at. But there are in Japan and some other countries, already they started studying the use of lunar material for construction. And Peter O'Neill from Princeton University, he wanted to exploit the resources on moon to get the oxygen and hydrogen, and then depart from there for other planets and other things. It's like an intermediate staging point. So all these are these studies. So there is a planetary geology, which was an actual educational initiative of the NASA in many American universities, planetary geology. In India, we don't have that as a specialty in the geology department. But I think much of the techniques which we are using in the normal Geological Survey of India things are applicable here also. Yeah, next. Yeah, next one. Yeah, this is the passive retroreflector, and also the because that is only the just corner cube reflector, and then the other part is the how it will be getting this from, I think in India we have in Dehradun and also in Kodaikanal and one or two other places, the laser ranging in Egypt, in Tokyo, number of places the laser ranging systems are there. So they have to go to moon and then get the signal back. So this is a collaborative program of whole world for mapping with the kind of things. And the other, yeah, next one. Yeah, but the RTG powered seismic monitoring, that also I think it lasted a long period. So I think now only, I think probably they have written it off. So the now actual other missions have also come forward to do further work on that kind of things. But to place a radioisotope or anything nuclear device on the moon, that also created a controversy because though it's a small quantity, but you should not pollute the other planets or other solar system objects. So that is even in India also they put one of such instruments on the Nanga Parvat. So that was some mountaineering team. So that was also creating a lot of concern. So this is again, what I would say, on one side science for curiosity, other side is the legal implications. You'll have to think of those things also. Yeah, next one. Yeah, next. Yeah, move to the next. I think this is the follow-on program. What you would see the remnants of the Saturn 5 use the Skylab, and then the Apollo Soyuz, and because Saturn 2B was another intermediate capability vehicle. So that was used extensively, and the Skylab, Apollo Soyuz, Spacelab. Spacelab was attached module in the space shuttle, and International Space Station. International Space Station is the one which is now currently operating. It is almost 15, 20 countries are members. India is not a member there, but we are having some scientists working. Then the commercial crew, which is coming now, what you would see, because extensively they are going to, make the man in the orbit or man beyond the Earth orbit. I think a lot of interest has come. So SpaceX and the Blue Origin, they are doing that. Then the Chinese space station is in the offing. Then Indian Gaganyaan, Indian space, I think it will also eventually have our own the space station in Earth orbit. And then the SLS of NASA, that is Artemis program, that is a successor to Saturn. So that is yet to be fully ready. So that will launch to moon. And then beyond that also, then the Starship of SpaceX is also planning to go to moon and Mars and settlement on the Mars. So the radio astronomy observatories on the moon's far side, dark side of the moon, is another interesting thing everybody is studying. And then mining of helium and exploiting the water as a fuel resource, and also the habitat survival. And these are things which are returned to moon. Both US, Russia, China, Japan, Europe, India too will join. So this is what I think. Yeah, next is this. Yeah, next. Yeah, show the next. Yeah, this is the Skylab. And then the other part was the Apollo Soyuz also was similar, because their Soyuz vehicle and Apollo docked together. So the next one. Skylab did so many experiments on microgravity, and also the other part for the all the you would say precision, the pharmaceuticals. That is, electrophoresis in microgravity will be 400 times more effective. Many of those results came. Then alloy melting, variety of things, which our Rakesh Sharma did on the Soyuz mission also at that time. So this is there. Then International Space Station, next one. Yeah, this is currently operational. It is almost 25 years over. So now they are trying to find out whether private people can lease it for their own, proprietary product development and other things. So, but it requires up and down servicing, and to keep one astronaut alive, you need almost 30 kg supply per day. So this is very, very important thing which you have to keep in mind. Now, air, water, everything has to go from ground only. So all this, and then instruments and maintenance and many other, then the extravehicular activity to replace systems and some small tooling to repair. Variety of things are carried in the other modules. Yeah, next. Yeah, next one. Yeah, next, move further. Yeah, you will see the Chinese proposed space station, which is maybe another 3-4 years, they will probably send the modules up. The Long March 5B, which is now planned to use for the Mars mission also, the fourth launch, but they will use extensively that for this kind of mission. Of course, this is a repetition of what the Salute Space Laboratory, which USSR did long back. So that is always, there was a cosmonaut present in the three or two people will be always there. They will be doing experiments, including astronomy, material processing, and earth observation, variety of things. So this is the purpose here also, but it will be having, application for national security also. And the Crew Dragon, what you see here is the next one. Yeah, this is the Crew Dragon, which everybody is so happy that private initiative. First time the astronauts are transported to International Space Station from American soil with an American-built rocket and the system which is putting this crew module. So the same crew module will bring back the astronauts back to Earth also, and then further, number of flights will take place. But you will see one interesting thing: this white uniform which they are wearing, the cosmonauts, the astronauts dress. You see the difference from the original Apollo kind of thing. Apollo almost like, it's made out of the nylon with a variety of modifications and other things, and also for the micro meteoroid protection, many other things, and thermal protection, and also cooling the body with water inside, circulating almost like a radiator cooling. So variety of things are built into that. And this was done by one Playtex. You will be surprised to note that actually that company is known for the inner garments of the American women. So they were harnessed for this development at that time. That is 21 layers was the actual Apollo thing, but here it is, and it is also internally it is pressurized 3.5 psi or something. But in this new, the astronaut what they are wearing, it is totally by mechanical compression. So they are able to change the weight is now comfortable and reduced, and you can do it very, very fast. You can change it into this uniform. So this is very important to see where, and this again, the ideas have come from MIT Boston. In the aeronautics astronaut department, assistant professor, one lady did all this change. So because otherwise, to carry the tools and do extravehicular activity, ingress and egress, that is getting in and getting out was so difficult. But now all that bulky things are given way to this kind of, it's almost like a normal person in, race car drivers, that kind of thing. But the original uniforms came from it came from the Air Force, people who were going all the way to even 70,000 feet kind of flying. So that kind of thing only has given. Yeah, next. Yeah, next one. Yeah, move to the next. Yeah, these are, as I told, plans for future on the moon for radio astronomy. Yeah, next. And the Mars also, they want to have a habitat. And the Gaganyaan, of course, our own initial beginning. This is the L-board mission we are starting now. So we hope that we have another few years, I think we will have Indians in space and coming back, like what John F. Kennedy made that statement, prophetic statement. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Next one. Yeah. This is again the future of the space program. There will be a lunar habitat and also Mars habitat. This is the plan for even SpaceX and many others. And private companies have been asked to come forward to invest in moon. So the lunar concrete is one such thing, and the radiation protection is another, and the availability of the survival material like water and other things. And artificially you have to create the climate in both the Mars and Moon. So many things are to be solved for this kind of thing. Yeah, next. Yeah, so now I will conclude saying that the beginnings made was, determination of a nation, and then we have seen the results and the return on investment. It is more than the national pride. It is the technology which has come, and eventually, I think it will give way to many other things for going. But the solar system exploitation is getting paved. The way is getting paved. And the one important thing, close to 600 astronauts, cosmonauts, and taikonauts, they have gone to space, and few have perished, like our Kalpana Chawla and the Apollo astronauts. But there is a wall of honor in some places, all countries who have sent, the names are listed. So the people who made the sacrifice, you have to remember on the day when we are actually commemorating the landing on the moon, because the way prophetically what Armstrong said, that a small step but a big leap for mankind. I think this is what I think we'll have to see, how we are making a technology to, on one side, the romantic and excitement phase, followed by hard-earned return of the money and capability to serve the people, entire globe. And Rakesh Sharma has told in MIT campus once that they have an explorer club. When they go to space and see, they are not seeing any boundaries, no walls separating, no barriers. So that is what I think, a globe without barrier, a borderless globe, they want to see coming out of the space research. So this is what I think we will have to say on this day, historic occasion. We have to remember and then make it happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So the last one is a video, which I will just present to you all.
Yeah. Just put it on.
Yeah.
You can cut it if time is not there.
Yes, sir.
Just put it. It's one of the old video only.
Sure, sir.
I think it is coming out of YouTube only, no? So.
Yes, sir. So, just give me a minute. Advertisements are there.
I think you touch on the slide, it will be okay.
Yeah.
This is the control center scene. I think he will be just coming down on the ladder. That part is the one, no, before putting the foot on the moon soil. So as I said, in those days, all the current technologies are not available. So I think the best of the television in those days, RCA company only was producing. RCA was the contractor for this. And Rolex also made special watches for astronauts. So many people have done. So I think now you'll have to see carefully the Armstrong just putting his foot on the moon. Yeah, I think this is the place. I think his voice, okay, it will be in YouTube. If you give the link to them, maybe they can also search. See, in those days, there were only three, that NBC, ABC, and CBC are, all the television teams. So they were actually covering all this thing live. Yeah, maybe you can stop it, no problem. Okay. Yes, because you can ask them to search in the
YouTube. I've already. Yes.
Yeah.
I've shared the link.
Yeah, YouTube it will be there. So you ask them to take it.
Watch them. Yes, sir. Sure.
No, only one personal point I just want to tell that after this moon mission, Neil Armstrong was moved to NASA headquarters in 1970, and we were joining at the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. Headquarters was in Washington D.C. So I went for a work there. So in the lift, when I was just entering, I saw Armstrong standing inside. So the kind of thing, first time I have seen him in person. So of course he is no more now, but he is one of the hero, that Hall of Fame, Astronauts Hall of Fame. I think he is honored very much. So this is what you will have to see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, sir. Thanks for sharing your experience. That was really, amazing to hear all the stories. We also have George with us, George Salazar. So I will quickly introduce him, and then I will just move on to him. Just give me a minute.
Yeah. Okay. I can mute my mic.
Okay, sure, sir. Okay, so this is a brief introduction about George. George Salazar has over 36 years of experience and is currently serving at NASA's Johnson Space Center as the human computer interface technical discipline lead to develop advanced human interfaces, as well as serving as the displays and control subsystem manager for the commercial crew program. So he is a part of NASA SpaceX demo mission, which will conclude by next month or so. and he is into telemetry, communications, speech control, command and data handling, audio displays and controls, intelligent lighting, project management, and systems engineering. He has been involved with the design of advanced telemetry, speech recognition, and intelligence systems, of which he has also received various patents. He is also the co-founder of the NASA JSC Human Systems Integration (HSI) Employee Resource Group, with the key goal of infusing HSI into the NASA development process. So welcome, George. Good morning.
Okay. Hello. Hello. Okay.
George, okay, I think some problem is there. George, am I audible? George, we are not able to hear you. I think I will need to mute everyone. Are we audible? We can't hear you actually. Are we audible? George, am I audible? Okay, I think I don't. I think let us wait for him to reconnect once. George, am I audible?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we are able to.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we are.
Okay, good, good.
Yeah, George, please go ahead.
All right, so all right, can you
Yeah, we are able to hear you.
can you see my screen?
Yes.
Good, good. I'm gonna get started. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you, the Spaceport Indian Foundation for being part of this very memorable anniversary of landing. So the previous gentleman that spoke on the Apollo program gave a lot of information, very good information about the Apollo program and where we're going. And so what I want to do in my presentation today is kind of compare at a very high level somewhat of the where we were and what we're going. And so the Apollo program was a program to go to the moon eventually, and then and we did. And then now the Artemis program. Interesting enough, Artemis were twin sisters in Greek mythology. So what I'm going to do is let's see.
Yeah, George, we are able to hear you.
Okay, I'm getting ready to go to the next slide, but seems like there's a delay going on here. All right. All right. Okay. Just go to the next page.
Okay, some issue with the PPT. He will just present again.
Can you see the page?
Yes, we are able to see the screen.
I got a page that says topics. Okay, good. So the topics are basically the goals, and it's already been explained. I'm just going to say a few words about that between the Apollo program and the Artemis program. The select technology. There's a whole bunch of technology differences between the Apollo program and the Artemis program. And I'll just kind of give you a feel for some of the changes that have occurred over the last 51 years. But also, I'd like to talk about the challenges, because that's something that's going to be fairly new between the Apollo program and the Artemis program, particularly the fact that we are returning to the moon in a sustainment. And I'll say more about that later. The Apollo program, there was kind of a few sorties did in landing a total of humans on the moon. The Artemis program is going to be totally different. We're talking about sustainment for a long duration of time, eventually go on to the moon, and then just some concluding remarks. So Apollo and Artemis Gold program. So then, John F. Kennedy and the previous gentleman talk about this was it was basically three top level requirements if we think about systems engineering. And the requirement was first, for the goal to between in 10 days duration within a decade of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth. And that was John F. Kennedy in 1961. Now, back then, our program was only NASA doing the program. So if you fast forward to the Artemis program, and there you see the picture of the Space Launch System, is that Jim Brandenstein, our NASA administrator, said, we're going to go to the moon and we're going to stay. And then we will use that as the learning on the moon to take us to the next step, sending astronauts to Mars. The moon is going to be our what we call a proving ground, proving associated with proving out technology, proving out procedures, and then also proving out how can we keep humans sane. In other words, physiologically as well as psychologically healthy. So in the Artemis program, rather than like in Apollo with NASA only, it is now NASA, commercial, and international partnership to go. We can't do this. It's going to take an international cooperation to do the Artemis program. Technology, electricity generation. Back in the Apollo, they used fuel cells, and we even the space shuttle program used fuel cells. Now on space station, we're using solar cells. In fact, what you're seeing there right now is a full up solar cell configuration for the space station. That's basically about what we're talking roughly of a settlement on the moon and perhaps even Mars for at least 4 people. Computers. Okay, so computers in the Apollo. That's the Apollo guidance navigation Draper Labs and MIT. This was on board the command module as well as a lunar module, and it had computations for navigation. It was 16-bit words in width as far as instruction words are concerned. 15 bits of data and 1 bit of making sure that the data was good. It originally had what they called coordinate. So this was woven, weaving wire cord memory with magnetic cores, and total memory was somewhere around 75 kilobytes roughly. But interesting enough, these computers somewhat were inherently radiation tolerant because of the how big the real estate was on these computer chips. It was very hard for a radiation hit to occur in a computer. Radiation hardened computers that are used in space exploration, and these are very expensive, somewhere around $200,000, but they are meant to withstand the radiation environment. And they compare the speed of operation. The guidance navigation control computer on Apollo was operating in the kilohertz range, and now they're operating at somewhere around 200 megahertz. Still not as fast as commercial computers, and there's a reason for that is because they're running slower because of the nature of the radiation environment in electronics. So you cannot operate easily, especially on Earth orbit, computer system that you're accustomed to, like your laptops and all this. And that's another challenge is the graphics processing capability that, because of the radiation environment, limits that kind of technology as we know it now for those future spaceflight missions. And then there's Spacesuits, Apollo, the spacesuits were very bulky. They were somewhat a little bit heavy, and it was very. If you look at some of the EDAs that happened on Apollo, you would see a lot of the astronauts falling because it was the center of gravity of that suit was off and to them to fall. So for Artemis program, that's what we call the experimental EMU unit that you're looking at right now is being developed at the Space Center. It's got to have a better center of gravity, so it's easier for them to move around. Mobility of their arms is going to be a lot easier. And also on that display, that you see here in the front, is going to be able to project status of the spacesuit for the astronauts, the status of their consumables. So much more high tech, if you will, compared to the moon suit, the back in the program. But certainly we're still testing out this technology. In fact, we're going to apply this technology on a space station in a couple of years to prove it out. And that's one of the reasons for space stations to prove out technology, as well as trying to understand if we can live for long periods of time in space. Unified S-band system, and unified S-band system capabilities for all different kinds of frequencies, and it was used for ranging, for communications, audio, video, basically permitted the transmission and reception of different types of information. They still had VHF, but for the most part, they use S-band. Of course, S-band is gigahertz, and it's very robust against against the atmospheric frequencies. All right, and then now we're talking about laser communications, as you see there, and that's something that is going to be very important for the next work of the space program. So real quickly, can you still hear me? So, can you still hear me?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, but a lot of attenuation noise is there.
All right, so we're still good.
A little bit better, but still voice is not clear. Is it possible to join via mobile for audio? Otherwise, we can continue. You can carry on.
Carry on?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's go on to the mission duration Apollo. So it was short duration mission sorties. Total time was 12 days. If you add up all the missions from Apollo 11 all the way to Apollo 17, of course the 13 didn't happen, but the total time was surface time was 12 days. They brought their own food and water with them. The lunar lander was their habitat, and of course they had the rover. And the EVA's total extra vehicle activity time was 5 days total. Enough, I have these two pictures here of Apollo 17. Apollo 17, it was Gene Cernan as commander, and the first ever scientist on the Apollo moon program. That was Harrison Schmitt. He was a geologist by training, so he was the first let's call him scientist, if you will, that flew to the moon. The other one for all military folks. Let's talk about the Artemis program preparing for Mars. So, it's going to be a sustainable lunar orbit, staging capability, and surface operations. Again, this is going to have to be methodically done over the time to grow, to learn, to understand how to work out. And so and that's part of this program. So we're investing in lighting and sun capability. That's going to be obviously very critical in case of emergency situations. And then we go on to expanding the range of service exploration. And very importantly is the ISRU. ISRU stands for Institute Resource Utilization Demonstrations. And basically, simplistic terms to take soil, put it in there, and out comes water and soil that they can perhaps grow food. They cannot take all the food and water. It's just too expensive and too heavy. So they're going to have to learn to, as we call it, gateway augmentation with international habitat for increased capabilities. We're going to start getting more international partnership. And just like on space station, we're going to have international modules. Gateway is basically the space station for the moon. And, foundation for space habitat and habitability platform to complete the Artemis space mission. So here's where we start establishing components for living on the moon for long durations of time. And then we start adding more to the capability for Mars mission dress rehearsal. Here's where we start looking at developing Mars transport capabilities to go from the moon orbit to Mars. And the first dress rehearsal will be basically humans orbiting around Mars, not landing there, but if everything goes out correctly, the subsequent missions would land them on the moon. And down here at the bottom, you see all the activity going on. You have astronauts doing a lot of extravehicle activities. You got lunar rovers, you got utilization, and habitability, mobility. The human needs and challenges, because this is something that's very important in understanding how to define mission concepts and mission constraints. So obviously we need water, and that's where the Institute's resourceization comes into play, because we've got to provide water for the astronauts, breathing for the astronauts. Obviously they got to have air. And then obviously food. So sunshine, interesting enough, basically maintains circadian rhythms of the body, so you can sleep and feel good. Sunlight, especially in some of the different frequencies, your body starts to start feeling tired, and if you start feeling tired, the likelihood of making a human error in controlling systems. And then, of course, exercise, because of the lack of gravity, especially going to Mars. It's a long duration mission. Is that your bones get weak, your eyesight changes. Many psychological and physiological changes are occurring in the human body, as Scott Kelly found out in his 1 year space station mission that he did 1 year or two ago. And then obviously interaction with the crew, with the different people. This is team operation. Okay, so we have international partnership. That means we have players or astronauts from different countries, as we do now on space station, different cultures, different belief systems, and so we have to work. They're going to have to work together to make a successful mission. Isolation, that's going to be a big. I think a lot of us can attest to, if you're away for a long period of time, you miss home, you miss your family, loved ones. Imagine being on Mars, where you're far away from Earth. I had an opportunity to talk to a Russian scientist years ago, and he was saying that some of the long duration studies that Russia did, there was one in particular that he was involved with. And he talked to the test subjects after being in isolation in Siberia for over a year. And so they said, well, we coordinated with, we got along and that. But in reality, test subjects told the principal investigator, the real reason that I survived that long away from home was that I knew that I was on Earth, and one day that I would be out of here. And so it was that was the motivation. That's so when you go to Mars, when you see Earth very small, it's psychologically effective. And then habitat is very important. fact, Samir mentioned that I was part of the Human Systems Integration Formation of that research group. Human systems integration is going to be critical for these deep space missions and habitat. Having your own space, how it's laid out, making you feel comfortable is very important for the human psychology. For the human mind. Radiation, that's a big one that we're going to have to protect the astronauts. Let's talk about technology needs and challenges as well. So obviously they're going to have electricity. There you see a picture of a reactor now. You hear about fuel cells and solar cells. Well, on the moon, fuel cells, fuel cells, they have a limited life and they degrade over time. Even though they're very good about producing no bad products, byproducts. Actually, the byproduct is water. But there's some challenges with fuel cells. And there's some challenges with solar panels. Now, solar panels on space station work quite well because it's very close to the sun. And as well as on the moon, it may not be a big issue. Keep in mind that the amount of radiant energy from the sun is 1 over r squared, where r is the distance from the sun. So as the intensity decreases, we're talking about larger solar panels, but if you're talking about larger solar panels, and then on the dust associated with the moon, even on Mars, is the amount of electricity generated degrades because of dust on the solar panels. The motors, you're going to have as well that they're very intelligent. They can go out on their own, maybe autonomous or maybe controlled by human on the moon or orbiting the gateway. But these are going to be intelligent. We call them scouts. They're going to be out scouting about. Learn more about the environment. That's important for Mars mission. Habitats, again, as I mentioned, is important for the human and protect the radiation environment. But also these habitats are huge, and I'll say a few more words about that because the weight is a major issue in something very heavy, especially Mars. This is basically environmental life support system, oxygen for generation for the humans that they need. So they're experimenting with different environmental life support systems. The key thing to remember is that you want a very good, reliable environmental life support system. And so right now, the technology as we have it right now is 97% success. No failures on an environmental life support system. Well, that other 3% doesn't sound like a whole lot, but I tell you what, if you lose all your environmental life support systems, that percent is a big deal. And so we want to make sure that we increase the reliability of the environmental life support system, especially when they go to Mars, because from Mars, we're so far away from providing emergency rescue. Communications, again, very important because of communicating with loved ones. And it's one of those high critical technologies that's going to be needed for deep space missions, particularly to Mars. We proved that out on the moon because we're not far away. We're just about 2 or 3 days away, so it's not a big deal. About 1.2 second delay versus Mars, which is somewhere around 20 to 30 minutes. So a big difference. Computers are going to be everywhere, and as I mentioned, they have radiation hard and radiation tolerant computers to make everything operate reliably and correctly. Again, you have systems that start failing. It affects a person's mentality from a psychological standpoint, and we're trying to avoid that because again, you're affected mentally with issues that are going around because you don't know if you're going to be alive the next day or not, can affect your operation of the system. We call it cognitive loading, perhaps, and so your cognition starts to decrease. And not to say that there's other factors that are affecting astronauts too, like, for example, your skills in just pointing in tablet control affects basically your tactile skills as well. So computers are obviously going to be very, very important. And then that's kind of a concept of resource utilization. Again, it's very important to living off the land, creating the water for drinking, as well as basically detoxing the soil of Mars and trying to prove that out on the moon first, because the moon soil is very abrasive. So we can basically ruin mechanical parts. So we're going to have to make those reliable in order to basically take these to Mars and know that they'll reliably operate. And it's just not water, but also and detoxing the soil so they can grow plants. But it's also creating fuel for their rockets to take them back home, and basically the fuel also for operating other vehicles on Mars and habitat. And okay, so re-entry. Okay, we're seeing a picture here of re-entry of the Mars solar system. And so if you think about Mars Science Laboratory, which is Curiosity, it weighed about 2,000 pounds. And if you think about, if you ever see the I think they call it the 7 minutes, what it took to land the Mars Science Laboratory on the Mars, that is the maximum weight that you can land something on Mars using that kind of capability of entry, descent, and landing. Anything bigger than that, we're going to have to come up with better ways of landing space hardware and systems and habitats on Mars. You know, the habitats that I pointed out to earlier are going to be maybe laboratory. So how do we bleed off that kinetic energy? Of course, as you well know, kinetic energy is the mass times the velocity squared. So how do we bleed off the kinetic energy? So we can land safely large structures, large systems on another planet, and of course the radiation environment as well, because it's going to play havoc with all these systems that are electronically controlled. So, in conclusion, with the commercial and international support, we return to the moon to stay, and then we'll go on to Mars. And I'm looking forward to that. Maybe out in the audience, I'm hoping to become part of this exciting adventure. So thank you very much for having me.
Yep. Thank you, George. I think, sorry, there was a lot of noise issue at your end, but that's okay. We understood what you were trying to convey the message. So thanks, Vasagam sir and George sir. So with your permission now, if you allow, we can start with a quick Q&A session. Okay, so I will take up first some of the questions which were there in the registration forms. Vasagam sir, this one is for you. So now that this COVID-19 situation is there in India, and ISRO has allowed privatization of space industry. So this is from Subra Bera. So what are the pros and cons of privatization of space industry?
Yeah, you see, as you know, already close to 500 industries are working for the Indian space program. Maybe not as a end-to-end capability, but they contribute for the manufacturing extensively, whether it is electronics or mechanical or materials. They have the capability. That is one. But now we are also having MSME sector contributing. You may know that the nozzle material comes from a MSME company in Pollachi Road in Coimbatore. And we also have the Midani, which is doing the metallurgical things, the maraging steel, which is coming from the company. And liquid engines are manufactured already in industry only. So only thing is the integration and final assembly and then launching, they are not handled. So this is one thing which we'll have to now see who will be partnering with us. On satellites, definitely there is much, it is somewhat easier to bring big players because the transponder shortage and also the imagery is worldwide, you can also market. So people with the resources, money, and the technical capability and marketing capability can come into take part in this kind of things. So one of a kind mission, they can partner for the subsystems, but actual hardware from end-to-end capability, small satellites, medium-sized launch vehicles, they can also come on their own. But there are legal and other issues which have to be sorted out. I think the bill will be passed by Parliament, and also there will be an enabling procedure at NASA, equivalent to NASA, because when NASA was created, they said whatever shall be done by outside, they didn't say industry, whatever can be done outside shall be done outside. That is charter of NASA itself, 1959. So that is the kind of thing which we are expecting in India also to happen. Meteorology, remote sensing, these are services, and navigation is a service. Many things will happen soon. So, but the thing is, who will have the that ability to mobilize venture capital? I used to compare it with like the film production. How if 100 movies are made, you will get only 3 blockbusters. Many of the other things will be packed up in 3 days from the theaters. So that is what I think we'll have to see. The ability to harness the entrepreneurship and also the financing options, I think have to be clearly coming out. Okay.
Sure. Sir. So next question is for George. Give me a minute. From Abdullah. Why does it take so long for us to send people to the moon again? So I think.
All right. Well, thank you for the question. Yeah, it's an interesting one. So I have to say that it's a matter of politics. Unfortunately, politics always enters into all this sometimes. One of the what was going on during the Apollo program was that the war in Vietnam was escalating. There was a lot of turmoil in the United States. And so the decision was made to scrap some of the Apollo missions. In fact, they scrapped 2 missions that were supposed to occur, Apollo 18 and Apollo 19. And so back then, the motivation, one of the motivations, obviously, we're in a space race with the Soviet and the Soviet Union. And there was a lot of motivation associated with, more so politics. And despite Wernher von Braun's architectures of developing space stations and going on to the moon and beyond, it just seemed like the Congress would vote for very small funding that basically kept NASA operating. So in short, to answer the question, why is it taking so long to go to the moon again, is that we now have in place the support, at least at the politic level, for returning back to the moon. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to say, the way our election systems is every 4 years, that can change. But I think now there's a motivation for that, especially when we get international partnership.
So, next question is for Vasantham sir.
Yes.
Just a minute.
Yeah,
so, yeah. So, does ISRO has any plans for a rover mission to Mars? Just like now, recently, early morning, UAE had this mission successfully launched Mars, or NASA has done that earlier. So, do ISRO has any plans for rover mission also to Mars?
No, I think the first priority is for Chandrayaan 3, where we have to complete the mission, an incomplete mission of the Chandrayaan 2. We have to land on very close to South Pole, map the resources. So there the rover will be part of the mission. So whatever success we achieve in the Chandrayaan, maybe same technology can be scaled up for the Mars landing. But unlike moon, pure propulsive means you cannot land on the Mars. It has some thin atmosphere also, so aerodynamics plays a part. Also, there are some ideas for the Mars airplane, where even with the thin atmosphere, you can fly helicopter kind of thing. So instead of one rover stuck at one point and then few 500 meters or so, they may traverse. But instead of that, it will be with the helicopter, you can even do, scouting more area. That is what I think the ideas are being generated. You have seen some opportunity announced by ISRO for the Gaganyaan or the other future programs. So you can propose this kind of ideas to them also.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So the next question is for George. I'm actually combining two questions so that it is easy for all. So one is from Shivam Verma. Why Apollo 11 did not land on the dark side of the moon? And the other one is from Chop Singh. How Apollo 11 is or was beneficial for other future missions?
All right, so why did we land on the dark side of the moon? Basically, in one word, communications on the dark side of the moon. There was not direct communications with the Earth, and certainly because something that's critical, and Mission Control Center had to have continuous communications with the Apollo landing groups. You cannot land on the other side of the moon and expect to help them out in case of emergency situation. Again, the dark side of the moon does not provide that direct line of sight of communications, and so that was a non-starter to begin with. Now, when we on the Artemis program, they're going to have some orbiting satellites like Gateway, and so the Gateway can provide a little bit more continuous communications if they go on the dark side. But also keep in mind that on the dark side of the moon, you want to be able to see. You gotta have light, right? If you're gonna have light, that means you gotta have batteries and you gotta have power. Well, that seems okay. So if you have battery and power, then you gotta have more equipment. More equipment means more weight. More weight means more payload, more things to carry into onto the moon. And so there's trade-offs associated with weight. It's always the same thing: size, weight, and power. We call it SWAP. So you always think about that during the mission. As far as Apollo 11 and its benefit for our future research, so Apollo 11 brought back some of the early rocks, and we're still, believe it or not, we're still trying to understand a lot of that rocks that were brought back. But we also learned about how to land humans on the moon. And so that technology, even though it's no technology, procedures and all that are still being for returning back to the moon. It's been a long time since we've been on the moon. And so a lot of this information that was captured back in the Apollo program is going to be reused again. We can't build another Saturn easily like we did back then. That's where we're building a space launch system. I had the opportunity to work with NASA scientists and engineers when I first started the Johnson Space Center, and they told me that the blueprints that built the Apollo space program, did not have a lot of the information that was used by the technicians to build the system. That was an interesting comment from them, as because these technicians learned with years through the Mercury program, Gemini program, how to build better systems that was not on the drawings. And so those drawings did not capture a lot of the techniques and methods that take years. So, but we understand, how things were built and how they were. We're taking that information to take us to the using it for the Artemis program.
Okay. Sure. So, sorry, Vasagam sir, next question is for you.
Yes.
Basically, from career perspective, how can someone, even a college student or a school student, how can they become a scientist or they can get into ISRO for any future missions?
No, I think there is, generally ISRO, the manpower today is stabilized around 17,000 people. Out of that, around 10,000 are scientists, technicians, the technologists. Out of this, I would say bulk of them are electronic engineers, and then next is mechanical. Then we have some people in the communication and other kind of EC. So EC has a very strong presence in ISRO. Computer science and chemical engineering and aeronautics, they are not that many. They are in hundreds, whereas the others are in thousands. So I think you have to see the balance. So it is highly interdisciplinary activity. So the team forming and gelling is the real thing which happens in ISRO. So there is a systematic process of, they used to have an entrance exam kind of thing, and then for the interviews, and then they will place them in different centers, 3 months internship kind of thing also after the selection. But now they have not yet started this year because of the COVID. So this will be the right kind of thing. And there is IAST, Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology. Directly from +2 you can join. That is with the JEE ranks, the whatever is the IIT entrance exam, same score is used there also. So, and then few other institutions are there. But you have to now look for the private sector, which is working for ISRO, the job openings there also. So I think that will be much more attractive because sometimes, the payment will be much better also. So you'll have to see that thing.
Sure, sir. Sure. So I will take up one more or two more questions. Next one is for George. Rohit is asking, in earlier days of mission times, how they choose the location for the landing? Was it pre-planned, or was it just calculated there and then where it was landing? And how all these calculations were performed?
Okay. Can you repeat that one more time, please?
It's from the Q&A actually. So in the Apollo mission days, how
Okay,
the location was chosen to land on the moon? This particular area we have to land our Apollo mission, and how the calculations were performed.
Okay, so location of a moon landing, there's a lot of mission planning that goes into that. And it comes into the what we call scoping the project, and this is part of systems engineering, is to identify what our goals and missions are, and what are the objectives of a particular mission. So based on what that objective is, and it's going to depend whether obviously there's going to be scientific aspect to that, to that mission, but also there's an opportunity to test out hardware systems. And so the selection of the location is dependent on what that mission is that mission. Again, for the most part, I'm going to have to say that we're going to be landing on the portion of the south part of the moon for the Artemis program. But you're going to have a line of communications, line of sight of communications to do that. So understanding where we're going to land, and then obviously understanding what the objectives are, then they can start looking at what's going to be needed as far as hardware systems and software systems, and how does the human play into this? The obviously the astronaut in system development. This is something that was not taught to me in electrical engineering school, is that system development is not just having the best hardware and the best software operating in the environment that it was designed for. That's just part of it. The real part is the human. If you neglect the human, you can have the best hardware, the best software, but if the human cannot operate it or makes a mistake, the system as a whole fails. And that's something that NASA does very well. And that's why, again, going back to the HSI, Human Systems Integration, is that we're putting more emphasis to that, because more and more it's going to be important to include the human element into the design of the systems for the Artemis program.
Okay, thank you. So, sorry, one last question for Vasagam sir.
Yes.
How in India, how to get the practical knowledge about rockets and satellites apart from reading books?
Yeah, you see, unless you, because when ISRO was started, it was called INCOSPAR. I was in the very early, I joined 1965. So that time, there was no training school or anything. We were actually put directly on the job, and we have to work in interdisciplinary teams. So a chemical engineer, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, everybody will come together, and then we were doing the job. So we learned by doing it. So that is what I think the internship is meant for. But today, most of the government institutions, we don't have the opportunity for internship. Because one is the problem of accommodating them, and also structured internship. You cannot just keep them on one area alone. You have to train them for many areas. So that is a little difficult in the sense. But if you join, then you put on a team, you will learn a lot of things. So I think that is what you will have to see. You have to be lucky enough to be selected and then join, whichever, whether it is at Ahmedabad Space Application Center, which builds payloads, or the Hyderabad Center, which is processing the remote sensing data, or the communication and control of the satellites, which we are doing from Hassan or Kenya. Then the real building of the satellites and launch vehicles, Trivandrum major center, and the other is at the our Murugaspalaya near the NAL campus adjacent to that. So these are the areas where we have people who are actually doing it. So I think you will have to first find out how to get this kind of opportunities, then join the effort. That is the best way to do. So there is nothing like a textbook kind of thing. I was telling yesterday somebody also that the Apollo experience report, 250 of them are there. What went right, what went wrong, and then what is the lesson learned. Yes. So they are available in National Aerospace Lab in Bangalore also. NASA reports are stored there also, because we are one of the repositories. So that is not even known to many people. So such things, they are hard copy reports. So now you have to just find out such things. And also the experience reports. The AIAA has got a lot of reports on the design reports, which are excellence in design. They have brought out the reports. So they are all book form. So you can get those things also. And you read AIAA and also the other journals, which are actually talking about realizing the systems and then getting the results at the end also. That is there.
Sure. So I won't ask much questions. I think everyone has some or the other engagement. Yeah. Sorry, we are running out of time. So thanks, Visagam sir. Thanks, George. Thanks, Elongan sir, for your valuable time today. Maybe in future we will have further sessions on the same. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your valuable time. It was really nice talking to you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.